apologies for sound like crap today. I'm going to have medicine, but it's just wearing off. So I'm going to take it. Hopefully by the end of the podcast, my voice won't sound as crap. But yeah, it's just one of those things where at 5 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, I've got to take my medicine. It's coming up to 9 o'clock soon. So in this podcast, you will hear my voice go from slightly crap to completely crap. And well, if I do it after that, then it's just not going to get up and out on time. But yeah, it's good evening to everybody. Good morning, good lunchtime, whenever you're listening. Hope you're doing well. Illness is slowly dying, but I'm glad it's nice and warm in the UK. The usual small talk that people do. Oh dear. One of the things I'll be working on this week that I think, well, hopefully it'll be coming out soon, will be a couple of guitar covers. So I finally figured out, well, it's still in its face, but it's mostly there. So I've learned to play the song. I've learned to record the song. Now, well, I haven't learned to, but I've got an idea of how to do it. And now what I do is just practice it and upload it. So we'll see if it gets taken down for copyright or whatever. I don't think it'll get taken down. I think it'll be monetized and then taken to whoever. So I think the first couple that are going to come out are Firehive by Knife Party, so one of my favourite dubstep groups of all time, and maybe Pendulum the Tempest. And then there's a couple of other ones I'm working on at the moment, but they're kind of in the works, a lot smaller. So for example, what's it called? There will be a couple of by Fox Stevenson doing like a mashing two songs together, then guitar covering over the top, so that'll be a pretty adventurous one. But yeah, I'm finally figuring out how things work. So basically I've got this like an amp, and it's also got sound effects built into it, and not like really cheesy sound effects. It's got like pedals and stuff, which is pretty cool. So when I got it, this must have been like 2012. I got my electric amp. Anyway, I got it. Brilliant. And then I kept the instructions for ages, and it came with this CD with the software on. I was thinking, I'll never use that. I'll never get around to using that. And then and then I kept it. Even then I was like, I might use it. 6 months ago, I think I chucked it because I was just having one of those clear outs. You go through all your stuff you're not using, then get rid of it, threw away a lot of stuff. I think that CD was in that as well. And a CD in the 21st century, really, you don't need it anyway. So I was kind of devastated, went looking for it, cleared my room out, but I'm pretty sure I chucked it because I couldn't find it again. I was kind of gutted, but at the same time I was like, what are you gonna do? That means I have to find a new way of getting software. But the thing is, the tones that I'm used to, and the tones that what I know sound good, are already on the amplifier. So how do you get the songs from the amplifier to a recording? So I was thinking, okay, that should be interesting, because then, but when you play guitar, it's gonna. You ever heard a guitar, a live unmastered guitar? It sounds poppy as fuck. When you put, for example, this microphone next to it, it doesn't sound as great. You got to go through and clean it up. So that was great. So I had one of those epiphanies at midnight. I came home from a friend's house and just was not too tired. It was about midnight, and just decided, let's see if I can find the software. Luckily, it was free and online. So so as soon as I plugged it in, the amp was like, brilliant, plug and play. And because I've bought the amplifier, it realizes, okay, this software is for this computer, I'll be able to play. Obviously, I wasn't turning it up full at midnight, but I'm so glad to hopefully bring you some. But then trying to think, there's so much to think about. That's the issue. So like, I've got to think about the amp, then the camera angle, then the lighting, then the sound quality, then the video, then hearing the song and playing along with the song, and then when you come to editing, putting all the three things together. So in my head is quite a lot of things, but do you know what? It's one of the things where I just need to, hopefully I'll record it this weekend and get it up and get it working. Because even getting the headphones, if you look at a lot of them, they either don't wear headphones or they do wear headphones. So I tend to record. I'm gonna do the way that mine will work is I'll have one in and one out, kind of like a DJ. Hey, maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. One in, one out. So I'm kind of hearing through one headphones of what's going on, and the other one is kind of playing. I'm hearing what I'm playing. So kind of get the best of both. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but hey, look forward to that on the channel. That'll be something interesting. 2 more subscribers, which is awesome. That's like, I think 7% more, which has always been standing for a while. But you know what? I think it's one of those things where I'm happy with the way this is going. Probably not putting as much emphasis into this channel as much as I should be for now, but the podcast is remaining every week. And then anything else is kind of a bonus or a project that I've been working on for a while. So I do want it to be music related, to be honest, this channel. And then if I get bigger, then move the podcast to a separate channel and see what I can do. But for now, I don't get when smaller channels have have a low subscriber count and like 4 channels, like a vlog channel, then a streaming channel, then a gaming channel, then it's just like what are you doing? There's no point. Once you get bigger, then you get your second and your third channel and blah blah blah. But when you're smaller, it's just too much headache and too much hard work. And it's just grow one audience first and then start expanding it to other ones. I won't say a pet peeve of mine. I think the pet peeve of mine is on YouTube, especially, is I know I've mentioned this before. There's a lot of crap on there. I admit it, I watch memeless videos. They're not that bad, but it's just kind of like, because what it is that, you know, I'll say back in the day. For example, when you want to watch news, you kind of watch, and if you watch BBC or ITV or blah, 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 you get news of everything that's going on, whether it interests you or not. So now, with the YouTube era, YouTube generation or Instagram generation, I know we talked about this with Femi and Emmanuel, but we get to choose our own realities. We get to choose what we put into ourselves and what. So I won't say it doesn't give us a well-rounded opinion, but it does give us a certain way of looking at the world. And so, for example, with mine, a lot of my recommended are just music. It is podcasts at the moment. So I'll have a look now, actually, see from mine. Yep. So I have podcasts, music, Philip DeFranco, Comment Awards. If you guys check out Comment Awards, they're absolutely brilliant. It's like a collection of memes, and they just stick it in a 10-minute video and narrate it. It's actually there's loads of them, but Comment Awards is definitely the best one. Joe Rogan, UKF Dubstep, Andrew Schultz, another unbelievably funny comedian. I don't say that, especially about American comedians. I'm not a big fan of American comedians, to be perfectly honest with you, but he's one of my favourite. And then a bit of BT Sports, because I like to catch up on the Champions League and the Europa League on YouTube. So that's anyway, so that's stuff that interests me. I don't use the trending tab because I don't like it. So again, from there, you can see that I've got my music, I've got my comedy, I've got my podcast, and then I've got my football, stuff like that I'm interested in. So we can now tailor the stuff towards what we want. So this means that from what you've seen, all of them are kind of, they're big players. And I'll say Andrew Schultz is a big player, but UKF is a huge player. Then you've got Joe Rogan's the biggest independent. I don't know if he's the biggest independent podcast. I don't know if he's the biggest podcast, but anyway, he's amazing. He had a guy on recently called, I've just lost his name. What's it called? Johan Hari. Really interesting journalist, who talks about, don't want to spoil it too much, but he talks about mental health and and the link with drug use and how we punish people for being people that do drugs, and banish them from society, and and we leave them lonely, and also the drugs are normally a symptom of something else. So when you see drug rates escalate, you see an increase. You see it because of increase of poverty and other things. It's really, and like, not just poverty, because that's an obvious one, but I don't know. Do you know what? I'll link it below if you guys want to watch it. It's definitely, it's one of those things where you watch the video and you go, yeah, of course that's what it is. Of course that's what it is. But I don't know how to describe it. Well, it's kind of, you reaffirm what you already know, but he puts it in words that you're like, yeah, that makes sense, and he brings the facts and the figures. But I think it's brilliant. He was talking about things that I never knew about before, like Switzerland had an opioid crisis, and now in did I say Sweden or Switzerland? I can't remember. Switzerland, they had an opioid crisis, and I didn't know this, they legalized it. They completely legalized it. And it's crazy. You listen to the statistics and what he mentions, and think it's really interesting things that he mentioned regarding, they have legally, they don't have any. So literally, you go in, you take as much heroin as you're allowed to take as much heroin as you like, as long as it's not a deathly dose. You take it and then you get on with your day, because they do it at like 7 a.m. or something early. So it's crazy. I was just blown away by it. And then I was talking about Portugal and the way they do the drug and the drug war in America. So anyway, if you're interested in that, that will be below. I've got also one thing that happened this week is, well, I had a thing on, what's it called? On Monday. I got home, relaxed, and then the owner of 100% LCFC goes, Neil, or he goes to the group, hey, does anybody want to fill in? Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. So where was I? Yes, the podcast for 100% LCFC. So the guy that owns it goes, listen, I'm going at work. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to miss it. Does anybody want to take over? So it's about 9 past 8. And the show goes live. I normally do it at 8:30. And I've never done it before on my own. I was thinking, shall I do it? What's going to happen? I've never done it before live. And I know I did one walking around the King Power, the Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace ground. And that was fine. But this one was slightly different, because it would have been just me with nothing to talk about. So it's kind of similar to what I do to the podcast in a way. Oh, God, my voice is starting to go now. Apologies for the break. Let's just answer a phone call. You know, it's like when parents just go, phone! And you're like, fine, I'll talk to them. But because they've come to your room, you've not got a choice. Anyway, so now I've got this. I was like, this is now on Ever, Neil. You're not going to get this opportunity again. It's good exposure. Let's have a go. But all right, I'll do it. So wrote down. So I was quickly scouring my brain going, right, some things I could talk about, because there's no football this weekend, so it's not exactly like I could talk about a lot of stuff. But it was gonna be great. I was like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting, because I've now got access to the chat, so I can just post anytime I like. Essentially, obviously, I'll let people know before I'm doing it, rather than just doing it in the middle of nowhere. Well, just out of the middle of the blue. So I did it. Put on the gimbal. I'll post it down below if you guys are interested. It really isn't that interesting, to be honest. If you're not interested in football or Leicester City, it's just an excuse to see my face and all the comments. And it was, it's a great community of people. Can't complain at all. And yeah, it went really well. Nothing really to complain about. There was some people giving it. Oh, sorry about the interference noise. Had to shut my door because I hate having my door ajar. I'm a bit OCD like that. But yeah, one of the things, there was some people giving it a little bit of, oh, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Had a few things lined up. But do you know what? It went fine. And especially with the fan base, they're such a lovely fan base. There is a little bit of negativity and blah, 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 especially at the moment with, I know a lot of you aren't too interested in football, but what it is, it's like, we've got a manager in at the moment who's divided the crowd. I wouldn't even say 50-50. I'd say most fans don't want him in the club, but I can see what he's doing and I can see where he's going with it. It's just taken over a year, and in football, where they get rid of managers like no tomorrow. This seems to be the case. And sorry, my voice is absolutely dying at the moment. But anyway, so there's a lot of people going, I don't want him in here, blah, 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 which was not great. But do you know what? Everybody was lovely enough, didn't say anything too bad. But yeah, it's first time, you got to throw yourself into these things. When opportunities arise, I was telling them to go, nah, I don't want to do it. And then I was offered on a Wednesday show to do that one as well, but I was ill, and I thought, I've done 3. I think people will be a bit fed up of seeing me, to be honest. And then one of the other guys from our group had took it over anyway. But because I did one Thursday, I did one Monday. I did, because you get too bored of somebody's face 3 times in a row. That's coming from me, and I do a podcast every week, But yeah, I could feel my voice just dying slowly now. So I'm going to try and get through this as much as I can. Try and get these vocal cords back, because I've got a few more minutes just to do. What else have I got on here? Do you know what? It's been. I was having this discussion actually today when I was talking about travelling with some people at work, and we were talking about ethnicity and how we're perceived, blah blah blah. And one of the things that came up today was, obviously I grew up in the UK and everything's cool, and I've not really received any racist stuff or anything that's very harmful towards me in my life that much, really, in regards to who I am and what I look like, to be perfectly honest. But when I went travelling was a big reality check for me, so especially when I went to Asia. When I went to Dubai, it was fine, because I said, where are you from? And they go, oh, from England, blah blah blah, no problem at all. Then I went up to the Philippines and Indonesia specifically. I went there and I go, they did make small talk in the car. Where are you from? Or in the hostel, for example, if I met other Indonesians or other Filipinos, and I can hear my voice just dying, but we're gonna continue. And they go, oh, where are you from? One moment specifically I'm thinking of is when I was leaving Bali, to go from the taxi from my hostel to the airport. And I'm there in my taxi, and he goes, so where are you from? I said, oh, I'm from England. And he goes, okay. So he's sitting, because they drive on the right hand side in Indonesia. So he's sitting on the right hand side and he's driving, and then there's about a 10-second silence, and he goes, so where are you from again? Like my answer's going to change in like 10 seconds, right? And he goes, oh, I'm from England. But he goes this, and he takes my hand, and like he takes the same hand. He points the top of my hand. He goes, this is not a, I don't know what accent that was, but he goes, this is not English skin, no? This is Pakistani skin. And I went, oh God. I went, that's fine. And I don't know. Someone counts as racism. And again, that's just a perception of the UK. It's just a white country, and that's true. And that's what you hear of it, and that's what you see. You think about all the celebrities that come out of it. You think about all of the Queen, and for example, it's very royal, very regal, very English, very white. And that's fine. But at the same time, I went, no. And I had to explain about, my grandparents immigrated over here, and then my parents born here, I'm born here. And then only after that would they accept, okay, you are from England. But until then, and the thing is, like, everywhere else that I've been regarding America, the Western countries, even like, the first world countries, they just kind of go, yeah, that's fine, we understand that. Europe, America, even Japan was like, yeah, we understand, that's fine. And they have no immigration whatsoever. Well, not no, but they have very, very, very little immigration whatsoever. But anyway, that's me done, because my voice is just about to pack up, and then I'll be I'll be sign language in this podcast for the rest of the time, and that's a couple problems with that. One, I can't speak sign language, and two, you can't hear sign language. So I'm going to leave this off here. Thank you for listening. Oh dear. And I'll speak to you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Ooh.